Welcome to Education for All podcast, where we explore education challenges and innovations across Africa. My name is Anteneh Yimmam. I am the founder of Education for All, which is an initiative that I founded in July 2023 to make language learning accessible to everyone. Today's podcast episode is about educational leadership in technology in Africa. Our guest speaker today here is Anteneh Yimmam. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Today we're going to be having a podcast with him. So, a little bit about Anteneh. Anteneh is a passionate and driven professional who is currently working in the EdTech world. And he is currently working now as the education lead at Ethioware. He's been leading incredible initiatives like free training sessions, intern learning programs, and been publishing valuable educational resources. He spent over 2 years as a mobile developer where he honed his skills in technology, and also Antenna's work is about combining tech and education to create opportunities for learners everywhere. So welcome Antenna, and I'm glad to be your host today. Thank you so much for dedicating your time and effort into this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. The topic today here is going to be about educational leadership and technology. My first question is tell us about yourself and what led you to work on education.
Yeah. So as you already described most of it, uh, my name is Anteneh. I'm currently working in the educational sphere, and as much as possible, putting a mark on the educational outcome of Africa learners. And the path, I guess, that led me to pursue education goes back to first grade. So I used to be the smart one in the class. I used to stand first, to win all of these trophies, and I generally liked learning, also the reward of learning as well. But once I hit puberty around 8th grade, I felt discontent with the educational circumstance of my current education. So back when I was 8th grade, it was probably hormones, I don't know, but I lost meaning in learning. So learning stopped being fun and more theoretical. So I lost value in learning at that phase. So uh, I guess it was puberty, it passed. So once I got in high school, I started to hear from my peers about the same problems, in that they lost I guess, the desire for learning, their purpose within it. So I decided to conduct a research. So as a science student, we have to not only rely on our guts, but prove it with numbers and facts. So my biology teacher was the one who mentored me. Shout out to Mr. Nabi. And he mentored me through the first year of doing the research, in which one of the insights was eye-opening for me. So I thought that the reason why the students are not academically motivated is because of the teachers or the learning methodology. But what I found out is that they were not using the tools, the technology within their hands to better their education, because the teachers were not using them. So there was no reciprocating of that effort from the teachers. So that really showed me two things. First, the reason why they are academically unmotivated, and second, my love for research and publication. So I guess that was my motivation and the first initial initiation into the world of academia.
That's very nice. Actually, I also face the same problem. I'm not motivated as I used to be back then because there's the teachers are lame now. There's no one giving you candy right now just for scoring 20 out of 20. It's just theoretical. Then even if you go to labs, it's just nothing. You just end up doing nothing, and you see a teacher mixing up some chemicals, and it's not giving the same amount of energy or motivation that as it used to. And I am pretty sure about that, so it will pretty much help me because your research is quite helpful. So yeah, thank you so much. So the next question is going to be, how do you define educational leadership, and what does it mean to you in today's world?
So I guess education um, is very important. It's self-explanatory. Since educating young minds, you can educate them anything. So educational leadership, in what I understand, is the leadership of the youth. So you're technically leading the future. You're making the future leaders. You're making the future workers. So it is a very difficult responsibility to take on. To take on. So I guess educational leadership is, for my, as I understand it, and as I've experienced it, to identify what needs to be learned, how to best deliver that lesson, and also how to best assess it. So you're kind of a scientist leading other scientists in order to make learning, uh, I guess, applicable, effective, and uh, taking all of the objectives. So one educational leader must fulfill all of these, whether it is the Ministry of Education or our school directors. So I guess educational leadership at every level needs to be seen with this lens.
So educational leadership not only focuses on teachers who are like in first graders or in 12th grade, it also focuses in for professors or people who are working, for example, moms who still follow that, but they also need a way of teaching. So I think educational leadership encompasses all people who are educators or teachers in any way, shape, or form.
Before moving on, I want to add something because you raised some interesting detail here. So yeah, everybody is a teacher to someone, and everybody is a student of life. So we need to expand the definition of educators, because you learn social etiquette from your mom. You learn the language you speak to guests versus people versus friends versus strangers from your family. So your society is technically educating you, and we are getting all of this knowledge, but not all of it is filtered through our age or through the society's norms. So educational leadership comes to every one of us, because we have to be careful on what we let our children see, and also what we teach them inside classrooms. So most of the parents don't know what the students are learning in the classrooms, and the ones they do, they are not fully convinced that this is appropriate for their age, or even this is relevant at their age. So I guess this disconnect between all of the sectors within the education comes to the educational leadership. So I want to address that fact because you already mentioned it.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm going to continue to our third question, which is, what role does technology play in transforming education?
Yeah, so what's, I guess, technology affects society as much as society affects the development of technology. So in that sense, technology in education is very unique, because most of the technology we use every day is for entertainment, but when you come to education, you can make the learning fun. You don't need to hire multiple teachers to give personalized assessment, personalized follow-up for every single individual. You just need one platform. For example, at Ethioware, we use Khan Academy's AI platform, which is Kanigo, in which it makes the teaching process easier, the teaching management easier. So I guess the role of technology is not to play as the role of the teacher, but to assist the human teacher, because we I guess it's not ethical to give the learning aspect to tech only. We have to make it so that it will empower uh, the learners that are already present here. So I guess even during high school, our teacher used to teach us via diagrams, via 3D graphics. So that was one way in which we utilized technology. But today's technology is much more evolved, and powered by different LLMs. So I guess it has much more impactful learning inside the schools, also outside of it, because the things students learn inside the school might not be applicable outside, and they might bring new lessons inside the classroom from the social media they use, from the technology they interact with. So I guess it depends on our usage. It can make or develop the teaching process. Also, it can hinder it. So I guess it comes to balance at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I really agree with that. I especially like the one where you specified that your initiative works on actually working with a human teacher, because, as you know, AI has evolved so much. The AI can teach you anything, but you need a teacher. You need someone physically teaching you how something is done or articulated. So I really like the way that you coordinate with the human teacher and also make it to also integrate technology into this. So you've mentioned a lot about Ethioware EdTech Initiative, and I think you're working on different many projects at the same time, and I'm sure you're work like thousands project at this time since you've been working there for about 3 years, I must say. So yeah, tell us what is like a project that you've been working on that you would like to share with us.
Yeah, I guess yeah, it wouldn't be a problem to share this. So we are currently doing. So one of the services we give at Ethioware is we recruit a bunch of African high school learners in which they validate their career choices. So let's just say you are interested in learning about engineering. So we pull out Google Forms in every social media channels. So we collect responses from interested applicants. So a high schooler might not know that much from engineering, and if they do, it's from a teacher, not from a person who is actually doing it. So we use the available technology, be it Microsoft Teams, like the video call we are in right now. We use this platform to connect the doers to the learners. So our motto is lessons from the doers. So up until high school, you get very theoretical lessons again and again. But we want to address this gap between reality and theory. So we connect with them to an expert so they can tell them what their day-to-day work looks like, what is hard about the job, what skills are required, what education were useful for them in their careers, and what wasn't. So when one learner gains all of these comprehensive details from a doer, they will be empowered to make intentional decisions of their careers. Because Ethiopia spends more than the US in education as percentage of GDP. According to 2019 World Bank data, it's about 13% of the GDP is spent on education. So that's a lot of money. But when we ask ourselves, are we reaping the benefit of that investment? So that is a big question mark. So we want to address these specific problems in which high school students are empowered to go and pick what or to validate if they are really interested in that field. And if they're not, lucky for us, because they wouldn't be wasting 5 years in the university pursuing a degree that they don't want to pursue. So we want to give them all of the necessary context before deciding on that the decision. So we do that. In doing so, we also want to explore what career services or what career guidance services at the universities themselves are doing. So we are currently doing that research with RMI University and other researchers as well. So I guess it will be published within 1 or 2 months. So we'll see the insights, but generally from the data that we are analyzing, we saw that either the students don't know what the guidance service is, or either the offices themselves are not open, and if they do, they are not providing this level of detailed analysis of each student's career guidance. So I guess there is this level of gap between the students learning and what their future contribution would be like, because at the end of the day we educate people so that they bring value to the country, to their citizens, and to themselves. So if we don't do any of that, what's the point of learning? So this is one of the exciting projects, especially in the research that we do at Ethioware, among many.
Yeah, that's amazing. By the way, what do you mean by career guidance? Do you guide them from like choosing engineering and now they have to go to medicine, or what do you mean specifically by career guidance? Is it for high schoolers, or I think you're focusing more on uh, university students since you're conducting the research in Harama University?
The
So,
research,
yeah.
yeah, the research is current students at universities, are they utilizing the career guidance services? But the specific training sessions are for high schoolers. So we are currently conducting one of these sessions. It's called Engineering Basics. So we invite engineers from, let's say, we invited engineers from Google, software engineers, from Head Starter, software engineers, from Amref Africa, mechanical engineers, and other engineers, including Ethiopian Airlines, in which the Aviation Academy are aeronautical engineers. So all of these engineers have collectively years, decades of experience. So they will share with them the day to day. So multiple engineers with multiple sessions, so that once they graduate, it's only 7 weeks. So once they graduate, they will learn or they will understand if engineering is for them or not. So they will validate it. So we give this service for every high schooler. And if any high schooler is watching this and wants to be part of it, just head to our website or join our channels, and we'll be putting out posters describing our next event. So it might be validating medicine, validating marketing. So whichever is your interest, we're going to be expanding a session soon. So this is one of the exciting projects I'm directly working in. The other teams are working on analyzing the data, software projects, but I'm more directed on these kinds of projects.
Uh, that's amazing. I'll link the website's link on the description if any of you need it. So by the way, I'm a high schooler, so I will be attending those sessions. So I'll also link the Telegram group as well. So please make sure to send it to me. So to back to our questions. So how do you support teachers and students with technology? We've seen students being helped with technology. For example, you said you are doing a research, and this research helps high schoolers like me. I am a student. This helps me. And you've also mentioned that you help teachers with Khan Academy's. If I don't remember its name, but you use that AI. And yeah, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so as for supporting students, we deliver these kinds of sessions. We do as much as we can. And for the teachers, we help them utilize technology at the fullest. We currently didn't start implementing those plans because Canmigo is currently allowed in the US, but we used VPNs to bypass that and use the platform ourselves. So what we pride ourselves in is we use free content. So once they come to us, they learn from free content available on the internet, so that once they finish, they can continue the learning. So we don't want them to feel like they don't have learning resources. So we direct them to the specific learning resources that actually works. Because in today's age, there is a lot of learning material. It's about choosing the right one. And the right one would be guided by our experts. So as for the teachers, yeah, utilizing technology would make their lives easier. So they would focus on less on the administrative stuff and more on the actual teaching, actual interaction with the students, actual communication with the parents. So this is one way we can apply technology in the classrooms, both for teachers and for students as well. As for policymakers and other interested companies, we currently will publish articles, is a snippet of 10-page articles in which they describe current publications of education. So we want education policy to be based on data, not politics, not assumptions. So we will publish weekly publications that are simplified, easy to understand by anyone, because I believe some of the scientific terms, some of the scientific jargon used in publications is very hard for individuals. So we want to make it easier to digest by using plain language, easy visuals of basing off the paper. So we are finalizing those details, and we'll be publishing those papers as well. So any policymaker, if any student is interested in the current educational research happening in Africa, they can see the summary, or if they love it, they can jump into the actual publication. So that's one of the exciting projects we are doing to integrate tech into not only students and teachers, but also policymakers and parents as well.
That's amazing. That's good. I actually never considered it to be much including other fields such as policymakers or parents, specifically parents, because they're just someone who's sending their kids to school and usually don't interfere within the learning or teaching part of the learning teaching experience. And yeah, I really love that. So what skills are essential for leading in education and tech, especially this is specific more to teachers because they teach and they mostly use technologies. They try to engage that in their lessons, but how do they use it and what skills do you think is essential?
Sure. So I guess teachers handle a lot of things, especially in Africa. They're not paid as equally as what they put in. So that's the financial side of things are at the back of their minds. So they have to teach a class, oversized class, about a topic that they don't necessarily believe in teaching. So all of these are challenges of the teachers. So I guess some of the skills is one, utilizing technology. So if you check out ai4education.org, they have articles in which different people all over the world utilized AI for education. So one of the things is utilizing WhatsApp to manage their students. So one of the things we must be aware in integrating technology to the education is reducing the friction. So thanks to social media, or because of it, uh, our attention spans, especially the students, is decreasing. So we want to integrate education into the apps they are already using. For example, if they're using Telegram often, you can create a channel and share educational material there. If they are using TikTok, there is educational based TikTok channel. So as educators, we want to go where the students are. I guess in schools they are forced to come, but in other places it's their willingness. So for teachers, I guess integrating or welcoming the technology instead of uh, refusing to apply it would be one of the skills. In addition to listening, so empathy for students. So students in this day and age are learning so outdated material. So one of my friends graduated from Harama University about 16 years ago, and he went to visit one day, and the department is still teaching the same thing he learned back then. So 16 years of materials are not even updated, and that is a technical degree. A tech degree that is being taught after 16 years. So these kinds of updates are needed. The policymakers are slow to act, so it's up to the teachers and students to collaborate and uh, I guess find out effective learning methods and principles as well. So teachers in this case face a lot of problems, and acknowledging that educational leaders can ease that restriction, can ease that policy. Policymakers can ease regulations so that the teacher is the one making decisions, not some random politician at a random office. So all of these are necessary for the teachers to do their job.
That's actually super good. It education or technology right now is evolving so much, and you can see it from day to day. There is new AI, new thing, and it's almost quite uh, a lot to handle. And in this situation, how can they teach the same thing that they have been teaching for years? And they're teaching you documents. They're teaching you things such as how to open Word, how to select something and make it bold, but you are a software engineer or computer scientist or something related to tech. So how does this work? And I still really believe that in most countries, not only in Ethiopia, we face the same problem. I've talked to other people from other countries in Africa, and they've told me that they have the same problem. The other countries are evolving, but we are not.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really have to work on that as a country and as a continent as well. So before I finish, I want to ask you one question. What's your vision for the future of education in Africa, or is there any advice that you would like to give us? Especially, there are so many young people here who are listening to this podcast, and it would be lovely if you add something for them.
That's great. So before sharing the vision for the future, let's discuss about the tech education that is currently in Africa in general. So you said it, they are learning some outdated frameworks, outdated method of solving problems. At the end of the day, the updating of curriculum is very hard. So our books, so we recently updated our preparatory level education books or high school books to a newer version, and that costs a lot of money. That wasn't entirely funded by the country. There were donors involved. So in order to update a book each year, you have to spend millions of dollars because it's not even printed inside the country. It's printed outside of the country in India. So
It is.
if you guys check out the previous books, including the present ones, most of them are printed outside of the country. So they require currency. So updating the entire curriculum, distributing it, making it formal takes time. So that's why it's not available or it's not updated formal. So at the end of the day, it comes to the monetary resources of the country, and policymakers are working with tight budget, so they have to make compromises. So one of the things is that. But when you come to the tech education, you don't need that much of technical I guess physical textbooks and other necessities. So what we do in this regard as a company is we hire interns. So we give them tasks, company tasks that use the latest frameworks. They learn from our mentors and they learn from each other as well, so that they can build actual products that is shipped. So most of them, when they come in, they never know how to build a product. They have never experienced it, even in theory. So, how do you expect these graduates to go out of the education force to the workforce and contribute in a meaningful way? So, employers now face the challenge of teaching them again after they graduate, teaching them how to do the job. So they know the technicalities, but doing the job isn't as clear because it's not practiced. So I guess providing these technical internships, not only from the company side, but from the students themselves, engaging in meaningful projects is how they can add meaning to their classrooms. Other fields, I'm afraid, require a lot of equipment. At least for the technical field, it only requires software and internet connection. But I guess for the other fields, it really requires focus and finance and priorities. And I guess we can wrap up the technical education in Africa. So I guess the last question was the vision for future of education in Africa.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
you're right.
So
You got it right.
sure. So my vision of education in Africa is, I guess, the first thing, the most important for me would be to take ownership of what we learn.